So can you share some of your focus areas in India?
Yeah, sure. And I'm really excited to be here this week in India talking at our event here with IBM. And we've really been concentrating on smarter commerce. And in terms of the smarter commerce suite that IBM offers, we have 5 main pillars. And typically we always start first with capture, being our first entree into an organisation. Then we look at the activate pillar, which is how we really sort of make that content of business value to organisation and how we move that content around for business purposes. The third area is socialise, making sure that people get the right information at the right time in the right place. And then what we're seeing now is 2 new pillars that we've had in the suite for some time, but really growing in interest is the analytics piece. So how do we really look at analysing the 85% unstructured data that exists in many organisations. And finally, our govern pillar is really when the sort of content has reached its end of life and maybe of no business purpose, do we archive it or do we dispose of it defensively? So specifically here in India, we've seen, and around the region here in Asia Pacific, we've seen a real big growth in a couple of pillars in particular. So capture is a pillar that really has been very successful in the Indian marketplace. We've seen many clients here from banking and finance to real estate organisations to travel and leisure companies, steel manufacturers, public sector, sort of all sort of looking at capture. And the reason that we cover many industries is that every company, every organisation has content. And with the growth rates in content that are happening in our industry today, everyone needs to look at what their enterprise content management strategy is. So the analysts, if we look at the sort of leading analysts in the industry, Gartner, IDC, Forrester, they say that the growth rates here are phenomenal. There's 2.5 quintillion bytes of information created every day in the world. So those numbers are staggering. So every company must have an enterprise content management strategy, and every company needs to look at a vendor like IBM who has the building blocks to build out that strategy. So just back to India for a moment in terms of capture. This is a very solid sort of piece of our business, as is the activate piece, which is really how do we now move that content through the organisation. And if you think about a business problem maybe 5-10 years back, it was really a business folder with lots of documents. This is for content-centric workflow. And as it moved around, people put sticky notes on it, there was approvals, maybe more content was added into the file until that sort of business problem, business issue was solved. And so we've automated that, and we have available from IBM a very flexible solution called our IBM Case Manager, which is really taking off in this marketplace today. So people, we have customers today, banking, finance, insurance, doing things like account opening, mortgage processing. We have government companies, government customers doing things like registrations for factories for health and safety. We have companies in the travel and leisure industries doing things like visa processing. So all these examples are very content-centric sort of applications. So these are a couple of areas that are really taking off in India.
What are some of the demands of your enterprise customers?
In terms of the enterprise customers, really our focus has been typically on banking, finance, insurance and public sector. These are the largest customers, but we're also seeing now new players in the marketplace. So we're seeing people in manufacturing, we're seeing people in retail, like I said, travel and transport, gas and utilities, etc. So to give you some examples around the region, because I have Asia Pacific responsibilities, if I look at the China nuclear industry, that's one industry that's really growing rapidly, that whole energy and utility space. So we're working there with some customers in China around nuclear plants, building out your document control systems for things like plant maintenance, all the documentation for compliance, etc. So there's some really interesting use cases, but probably our largest customers around the region are in the banking and finance space. So if people are interested, they could have a really look at quite a cool site, which is BII Maybank Indonesia. There's a great YouTube video out there that these the BII Maybank has shown that they've got a 60% improvement in their account opening process by using our capture and activate content management software. So some really interesting use cases coming through.
How big is the opportunity? How it is evolving?
So the opportunity across the region is really is fantastic, and the reason for that is because, as I mentioned earlier, 85% of the information that's available in organisations today has been created in the last 2 years, and 85% of this is unstructured content and unstructured data. So that's the piece that enterprise content management looks after and sort of manages for organisations. So with these huge growth rates, this is why we're seeing the demand. And
can you share some of your strategies to improve the business? What is uniqueness about your offering?
Yes.
Also?
Yes, so we have a basically full, like I said, our full life cycle enterprise content management strategy. So, and you can enter any of those building blocks at any particular time in the organisation. So you can start with capture, you can socialise, analytics, activate and govern, and there's no particular way you need to start the process and start in that cycle. But what we're seeing here is companies now are looking to, I see a couple of really strong growth areas for India and across the region. Content analytics is one. It's very new, and we're seeing CEOs are investing in these sort of technologies now. They're really interested to get a good handle on what's happening in the customer. So all the surveys that are done in the industry, including the IBM CXO survey, say that this is a key focus for the CEO and the CXOs. What's happening with the customer? So the ability now to look through this content with things like IBM Content Analytics gives us that capability to get a lot more information about the customer, give a full 360-degree view of the customer information.
Any guidance to the customers in terms of deployment?
In terms of guidance to requirements for customers, I think it's important when looking at an enterprise content management strategy to look at really the sort of breadth and scope of the vendor. And I think this is a unique advantage that IBM has, and a real differentiator for us, that we really we really span from the moment content enters your organisation through how we make it useful to the business, through the analytics, etc., until we get this end point where we can effectively dispose of the content. So there's many vendors in the marketplace that have maybe pieces of that, but IBM has this very broad offering that allows customers to start where they want to today, knowing that they can expand in terms of usability and have this flexibility for future requirements. And IBM is investing heavily here. We're making a number of acquisitions. We just in the last month have added a new acquisition called Deja, and this new software that's now part of our suite allows you to do things like redaction. So you can basically sort of blank out information that some people can't see in your organisation, so that you don't sort of have issues with data privacy, etc. So we're always investing, and I think this is important for customers to look at their vendor and see where that investment's happening, and are my future needs covered in terms of if I'm the customer.